Do you know what time is it?
Now.
It's whiskey time.
That's true. Which bottle do you want? Do you want to try the Scottish one?
Was it a joke? I'm sorry,
No.
I forgot to laugh.
So this is the Glen Rhodes, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a Robua Reserve. Because we've got to give it credit for what it is. Oh, by the way, for the purposes of the podcast, we just had a German single malt called Westlinds, I think it's called. And what did you think of it?
It's actually a very nice example because I say the German whiskey no, but then it was really tasty. So
It's good, isn't it? Here we go. Try this. We're going back to the origins. This is Scotch whiskey. So the Glen Rhodes is a Speyside whiskey. I do like that. I would normally offer you as well.
Yeah,
but,
that's all right. That's all right.
Okay, that's cool. It's just more for us.
One of us has to stay sober in order to.
You're driving the train home today, aren't you?
No, definitely
You're
not
good
driving. Cheers, guys.
Cheers. But before we move on to another non-discrimination related topic and so on, you sent me a really cool message. So first of all, thanks to your boss and for putting it up on LinkedIn. It really made me think, shit, I should start doing this, and I started to do this. So please thank him from me for that idea of his. But you sent me a message saying, shit, I have to represent my idea on
diversity.
Diversity,
Yeah.
yes, that's it. So this is your opportunity, Vlad. Do you want to?
Yes, you said it. It was the last podcast had a huge let's say repercussion or the impact within my company because they were very proud about it. So Vlad was invited to a podcast. And they came like one day later, 2 days later. So hey, I listened to the podcast and let's talk about it. So it started a discussion, and then I was just thinking also, and trying to figure out what are we doing for diversity. And then I recognized two things. The first one was that I was, let's say, right that you are doing or you start doing things for diversity when you stop talking about it. And then I recognized and saw that we are doing quite a lot within the company. And you have read the post what I published on LinkedIn.
Yes.
That we are paying everyone really in an equal way, and we don't care if you are a man or if you are a woman. And the thing is that every single company would say the same. But as a matter of fact, I don't know why, but men tends to have better negotiation skills compared to women. And that's one of the many reasons for gender pay gap. So in our company, negotiation skills are, just irrelevant because, when I start talking a conversation with a candidate, one of the first things that I let clear is the salary and that we don't negotiate. So, and there's a possibility that we negotiate salaries, but that is an open discussion with the whole company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to name the company, by the way?
Dive Solutions.
Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah. It's
very forward thinking. And the post, for example, the response to your long post got a lot of positive responses. Yeah. And one of them was, I think, from your boss. Please correct me if I'm wrong, because he also mentioned, oh wow, okay, yeah, we do open our salaries. That's usually quite a taboo subject, isn't it? But how did you guys overcome it, or how did your bosses overcome this particular taboo? Because I find it thoroughly interesting. Because, for example, in my family, nobody ever asks what the other person has earned throughout their careers and so on. As in, it's just not done, and that's really interesting.
The question is, why isn't it done? I mean, in my family, we never talked about this because it didn't matter. Not because we didn't want to talk about it,
But-
it simply didn't matter. I
at
never
the end-
cared what my father was earning or what cousins of mine are or were earning. It simply didn't matter because they were my cousins. He was
I
my
get
father.
it, but I wouldn't be that sure because normally you talk about
I'm afraid I can be sure because it's my
because it's
personal
your
feeling.
family, but yeah, because no, the things that it's okay if I ask you, I don't know, how much is your rent, or if you want to buy a house, okay, how do you want to pay it, and I can ask for everything, but all the things that I'm asking for, there's almost only one way to pay it, and it's with your salary. So it's like you're having 90% of the picture,
I have
and
no
you're forgetting.
problem in
But okay, I'm
being
with
open
you.
or blunt about my salary.
But to answer your question, one of the as I came to the company, the CEO of the company, Pierre, we were having a very nice chat, and at some point I reacted also that way. So no, that's not possible. And then he said to me, you know what, we love to break things. So
Okay,
that's
cool.
yeah.
Why not break through
And
friction?
yeah, and then he also asked me if he's telling me anything, and I'm really pretty sure I have an idea that they know that's not the way. Then it doesn't matter that we have been doing that in that way or in another way for the past 3 years. It's now we are turning 2 years now tomorrow.
Startup,
Yeah,
3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
3
And-
years. Tomorrow will be
Tomorrow.
yeah.
Tomorrow is the anniversary celebration.
Cool. So when this podcast actually comes out, will be tomorrow. So happy anniversary to your company. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and that's a thing that we love to debate and to have an open debate, and it's not about being right or being wrong. It's about that the best ideas really win, and then when you start a discussion, I also have to mention we still have the things that she's going to leave the company soon. But Asal, she's also a person who is really into how we can close gender pay gap and how can be. He really acknowledged what a huge social responsibility we have as a company, and that's the things that you are doing with the company as a human resources manager, as a CEO, or as a salesman. The impact is even bigger compared to the impact that you have voting for someone every 4 years. And it's a thing that it sounds very banal, but for the first time I really had the opportunity or to see it. Okay, yeah, that's true. So stop complaining and start changing the world. Yeah.
Well, I mean, on that point, on the point of democracy, we'll come back to that as well. I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know exactly.
You know my opinion on it.
Yeah, I know, and I would like to get into that. I just want to say I agree with you. I agree that what you can do within your job and as an organization, as a company, is more important perhaps than voting. Even though I think everybody has to vote, because democracy without participation doesn't exist.
It's the basis, actually,
Absolutely.
the core.
Yeah. So, Fritz, you wanted to say something.
That must have been a while ago.
It was a while ago.
I don't know what I wanted to ask, but it'll come back.
But I mean, yeah, the day-to-day management of an organization, I'm really a believer in sort of the organic progress, and processes of an organization. When it develops naturally, you can almost follow the sense of the decision-making processes. It's when the decision-making processes get taken in the background, behind closed doors, that's when you lose the organic element, because you can never fully understand why those decisions were taken. I mean, if you think about some of the problems that you've experienced yourselves in other companies, the problems come from secrecy, don't they, essentially? Some of them.
Most of them, definitely, yes. Yeah.
Because you can't understand it. Is it you're being given a
You're
responsibility?
you're not being given all the information needed in order to make up your own opinion about it. Yeah.
Yeah, people, we always tend to have in certain points, not everywhere, like really strong opinions without asking ourselves why actually are we thinking in that way and not in another way. It's like with the salary discussion. I don't know, for me it was also normal before joining Dive Solutions that that's a thing that we have to negotiate and so on. And then you see it's very easy to change it. and there's only good things. I mean, not only good things. For sure, there are also some cons in there, but it's just about breaking things. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a great quotation, to be honest. And I'll have to write that down somewhere. I like breaking things.
Yeah, because you know how it is normally. It's like you are, as I was applying, for a new position. Then at the end, it's also a funny thing when you are an HR guy and you apply for a position because you know what to expect. And at some point, so 2 minutes before the call is over, okay, the final question, what are your salary expectations and so on. And that's always a thing that you always know as an HR manager. Actually, you don't decide on salaries. That's the finance department with the hiring manager, with the someone else. And actually, the money that you have. In some exceptions, you don't know. That's true, but it's maybe 1%. And that's supposed to be why to start a relationship with games. Just say, hey, that's the money what we have. When you go into I don't know, Reve or whatever supermarket, then you don't negotiate the prices. It's there, and then you can see, okay, I can do it or I can't.
I was recently told, and I won't mention any names at all, but so one of my students referred to a colleague, and the colleague is quite a senior partner within this organization. And lots of headhunters contacted this person, and this person always said, no, without even thinking, no, sorry, I'm not interested. But this one occasion, the case occurred, this person, I'm not even revealing the gender, this person said, okay, let's see, the response, the headhunter called, and this person responded, listen, if we're not talking minimum 500,000 a year, I don't want to know. And the headhunter said, that's no problem. So then this person is thereafter put in a position, oh, okay, then this is an offer that I have to really consider. Whereas before that, would never have done that. So the only reason I bring this in is because money talks.
Yeah. Money talks.
The thing. And if at my level, 500,000, I wouldn't even dream of it. Yeah, because that's just completely beyond any kind of thought that I may have. Yeah, but everybody's got their own level.
But does money always talk? I remember when I applied, or
when it comes, sorry.
When I, if I may finish that sentence, I'll be very quickly.
Don't worry, I'll edit him out later.
When I applied at my current employer, it was pretty damn obvious I wouldn't get the same salary, or not even close, that I have earned before when I was still in consulting. But for me, it wasn't about money. It was about learning. I wanted to learn. I wanted to have a new experience. And so it's not always the case that money talks. And I'm not saying this that I have such a sublime character that I don't care about money. Of course I care about money at one point, because we all have to pay our bills and our rent. But at that time, it was different, at least for me.
I know it.
Sorry that I interrupted you.
No, it's fine.
All right, we'll leave his comment in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nice thing to say. Well, do you want a beer?
Do
you want another beer?
That would be great, yeah.
I put them. I still have some. I put them.
No, but then I wait for Fritz. Yeah.
No, wait.
No, because I have here, one sip more.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait for Fritz then. Forget the fact that Zach doesn't have.
So you guys want another beer, huh?
I'd love another beer.
Yeah. The legal definition about having an employee-employee relationship is very easy. You are getting paid for something.
Absolutely.
So there's no definition that there's a place where you're gonna learn.
No,
I got your point, and I'm totally with you because you know me, and yeah.
Well, I'm trying.
The audience also know who was here my manager before.
I'm going to take this away just to create some place.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but then afterwards, if you want more, then I'll bring.
That was the toughest challenge of my life.
Managing Vlad.
No, I'm joking.
Look, I'm trying to learn at the moment about something called modern monetary theory. Okay, and because I think
say again,
modern monetary theory, MMT.
Okay.
Yeah, and it seems to be quite an interesting way of looking at economics. Because let's face it, economics, generally speaking, is the study of concepts that never work. Yeah? Now, however much you want to intellectualize the process, most of these theories are irrelevant because history has shown us that these concepts fail. But MMT seems to be quite an interesting way of looking at things. And I think one of the underlying concepts is that, you know, money is unlimited. The only thing that is limited is resources.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So you can create as much money as you wish, as long as you build something new with that money. You will not negatively affect the currency. Yeah, because you've created something new, and that something new has a certain value, and that value will be added to the economy. It is therefore, an asset, yeah, to that economic group or whatever it is. The only problem comes from when you create money to buy something that has already been built. Mm-hmm. So you're not buying something new. You're not adding to the economy. You're simply flushing away money.
But if a house burns down, would you burn the equivalent in money?
I think that's what banks essentially do.
Yeah,
I believe. As in, I really have to look
destroy money.
They destroy money. Banks, apparently central banks, what they.
I don't get the question. So I mean, elaborate it.
So Zach just stated that you can, like, when you build a house with that money, you can print new money because you created a new value.
By using new money to create a new asset, the value of the currency can never be diminished. It can never be reduced, or you won't lead to inflation.
It won't inflate. Yeah.
But if you use that money to build or to buy something that already exists, is already covered for within the economy, eventually that will lead to inflation because you haven't added any new assets.
My question was...
I'm so stupid, but when I'm buying a beer...
That money you're using for buying a beer is not freshly printed. It already existed. But we were referring to central banks who are constantly printing new money.
You know where's my office, right? Close to the Bundesbank.
Yeah?
Is there a hole in the wall or what?
But they don't. But the money is printed in Kreuzberg in the command.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He knows, mate. He applied there. Yeah. He didn't get the job. Yeah.
I'm a printer. I can recommend you one. I'm sure you know the guy, but there's especially one YouTube video. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Ha-Yun Chan. He's an economics professor at LSE. And
no, whenever people say I'm sure you know, I know straight away. I have no fucking idea who this person is, and you just proved that again. Ha-Yun Chan, I've never heard of.
Okay, you know Maradona?
Diego?
But, yeah. No. Okay, the same, but in economics, something like
that. No. Oh, cool. So he cheats his way through.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually done anything.
Not that good, but very famous.
Yeah.
No. And
that was not
one of his lessons is called Too Much Math and Too Less History, and it's talking about economics.
Okay.
And there is a bunch of actually very well-known economists, but we are not. I don't know why they don't become that popular, because let's say the main idea, what they are trying to sell, let's say, is that actually we have no idea about politics, if we want to say it, but we can talk hours about politics, and that's why we feel that we have the power, and we use also that power to change a government. And with economics, and let's not forget, economics is also a social science. So it's not about a natural science or something like this. So you have three: social science, sociology, political science, and economics. But we can talk about sociology, we can talk about politics, but when it comes to economics, normally people don't really have an opinion about it, because it's that's about math, that's about the numbers, I have no idea how it really works, and that's actually bullshit. Because economics it's more, it's just not it's also how we organize ourselves, how we invest our money, how what is important to you, what you said before. Hey, even if you pay me, I don't know, 30-40% less compared to what I'm earning now, but you can teach me something, that's also a thing that you can put a value on it, and that's I think it's a nice invitation what they do. Like, hey, let's start talking about economics. It's not about the numbers. You don't have to be a math expert to talk about it.
No, absolutely. And this thing with modern monetary theory is that, for example, with regards to a job, it's not that I'm your employee. For example, I am selling you my labor. Yeah. So we have then come to a kind of agreement. Yeah. So I will sell you I will work for you, obviously, and I want this kind of money, in return. But what you were saying was, I will accept a lesser figure if you train me, if you allow me to develop my skills.
It's a different trade.
It's absolutely. It's like a side trade, a sidebar, and maybe that training and that experience later on in your career.
That also increase your value.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So therefore, it does all fit in. I do.
Well, that was even smarter of myself than I believed it was.
No, you're always.
That's true.
You can only say that because you're intelligent, Fritz. Yeah. But let's talk about the democratic element, because let me cover some of these fruit things, because otherwise they're going to dry up. But you guys more than have, whenever you want to just grab it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So you made this comment earlier that basically the day-to-day running of the company is perhaps more beneficial to society than participating in an election every 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Okay. Now I agree with you, but can you tell me on the basis of what you make that statement? You said it. You own it, baby.
No. I guess the easiest way to explain it is because I'm really making decisions. And when I'm voting, I'm giving someone the right to make decisions for my family, for society, and so on.
So what you're saying is you have a more direct impact of the
it's more control.
You want power, basically.
Power. And everyone is really involved, and we are not really like fighting. Well, I guess we have to be clear that it's not easy to compare, because if I'm talking about a company, a deep tech startup, we are diverse, but at the end we have more in common than the difference that we have. Like we are people that are educated, that they went to school, college, university, and so on. So that's a different thing if we are discussing about topic A or B, and we are all well educated. I know well educated doesn't mean that you went to university, but that's different if you are then discussing with 80 million, let's say in Germany, 80 million people with very different backgrounds. You have people that they don't even speak German, but they have the right to vote, and that's also I'm fine with it. And I mean, it's not that easy to compare.
Yeah.
Is that an answer, or maybe the beginning of?
You definitely spoke a lot in the meantime between the question and now.
I love you too. I love you too.
Absolutely, yeah. Do you know? Everybody else will decide whether or not that's an answer. I'm not going to judge. I would simply say, because I said to you that I agree with you, and so therefore allow me to simply state why I agree with you. Voting is an active role within the democratic system, and I actually think that people rely too much on the voting, When a government is elected every 4 years, the stuff that they do in between, they have to be constantly harassed. They have to be constantly criticized. They have to be constantly analyzed, questioned. Because the reason why it's more important to do that now than ever before is that we've got too many political parties that want to take the middle ground. So you don't have effective opposition in many countries. You don't have it anymore. And so when the people suffer, when the people don't have a way out of any kind of crisis that they experience, what do? They start looking towards alternatives. And one such example of that is the AfD in Germany. Another example of that would be the National Front in France. Another example of that would be what's happened in Hungary with
Orban.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there are many different examples of the negative consequences of not participating in the democratic process. Yeah. So I do believe that we have to be more demanding of our government. We're not demanding enough. Yeah. Now, what you guys do, the companies can do on a day-to-day basis, is manage the effectivity of a group, a community. Yeah, because each company is essentially a small community. Yeah, people participate in the process. People are encouraged to become the best that they can be, and I think that allows that empowers them. And when you've got an organization, for example, like yours, where you say to people basically, I don't care if you are male, female, or non-binary, you are going to get at least this amount of money. You have empowered every member of your team to look around that room and say, we are equal. And I think that's a very powerful message.
True. Yeah, it's the concept of new pay.
But I mean, is there a way of like, I don't know, Germany is, I've been here for 10 years and I still can't claim that I understand what the hell is going on. But how, for example, can we promote this kind of thing within Berlin? Forget Germany, within Berlin. Yeah, Berlin, because Berlin is a unique city within Germany.
It's its own little ecosystem here. Yeah. Could you repeat that question?
So basically, this new pay concept. Yeah. How come, for example, because cities come up with ideas, concepts, which are then looked at. For example, when New York came up with the zero tolerance rule, where they wanted to clean up the New York City.
Giuliani in the 90s?
Giuliani in the 90s, when he actually knew what the hell he was doing. New York was looked at, wow, they really cleaned up New York City, and everybody looked at that, and you've got different things. I'm not saying that was great or not, because zero tolerance later on was found out to be pretty racially biased. But anyway, there are different things which are done in different cities which can be taken as concepts for how to develop and so on. How can, for example, Berlin, do you think, this is the startup capital of Europe perhaps, how can it be used as a vehicle for introducing this kind of new pay?
I guess we have enough evidence. All this and Fritz, that they better than mine. So all the things that we are doing right now in terms of HR, that really we care about our employees and we have a lot of breaks and so on. It started in, tell me if I'm wrong, but in Silicon Valley with all these, let's say, very famous startups like Google, Amazon, not Amazon, Facebook, and so on. And then other people that were also founders, entrepreneurs, and so on, they saw, okay, if I do it that way, I'm also going to see it reflected in the revenue of the company.
Are you talking about the gender payment gap, for example?
Everything, like something that it's how do you call it, change of paradigms.
But we have to have a closer look on what Facebook, Google, Amazon, what they actually did and why they did it. I mean, of course, it was a rebellion towards the classic corporations, but at the other hand, you could argue that Google wanted to suck more out of their employees. And therefore, they installed coffee shops in the company, a gym, TV, you name it. So they wouldn't have a reason to go back home.
I'm not judging if that was good or not. You ask how to, let's say, reproduce that system. And my answer was more
create a new system, which
to create, or let's say
fairness of payment system.
I mean, if and I really believe in it, but I think at the moment that my company, for example, we are now already very successful, but means that we can have even a bigger impact. And then you start to read in the news as a normal guy. You have nothing to do with a CFD or with the fluid simulations and so on. But you start reading about there is a company and they have such a system and so on. Then people are going to ask themselves, okay, and they are going to you have two options: entrepreneurs that when they found a company, they start doing it, or the other way would be employees that start asking, hey, why don't we implement something like this here?
I think the key of bringing that concept to all the established corporations or established medium-sized companies here in Germany is to make it more visible, to make the benefits more visible of that system. Because I mean, why would someone as Mr. Wirth, that Schrauben, who invented those screws, be negative towards an approach which would in the end be beneficial for him, as people are more happy and therefore more productive in his company. So I think you should just make it more visible to all the other companies, and then they actually first of all wouldn't have a reason not to implement it or install it in their ecosystem, but also their employees would basically fight for that or argue for that or ask for that.
Yeah.
There was this other issue which came out a few years before the corona pandemic, but there was a company in Scotland that introduced the 4-day week, where their employees, unfortunately I can't remember the name.
Was it in Scotland or in Scandinavia?
Possibly in Scandinavia too. The one I read about was in Scotland.
Oh, in Scandinavia, that's a 6-hour day.
Which is, okay, I guess it's probably quite similar hours-wise, but this 4-day week.
That was my week as I was working for Fritz.
Yeah, that was your dream, was it?
How dare you?
But it was full pay, as in normal pay, but for 4 days a week. Yeah, and what they found was their employees were more productive over 4 days than they were over 5 days.
Yeah, because over 5 days you do also do a lot of FaceTime.
Yeah, and in addition to that, they found that their company became so much more popular. So all of the top candidates started applying to them.
And branding.
Absolutely. Yeah. As it, what is, from a human resources perspective, or from the management perspective of a company, what is stopping companies adopting the 4-day week?
I think they're afraid of failing, maybe, and afraid that it doesn't work out the way they expect it to.
Yeah, and also it's not every single company is doing the same. I mean, if you are working producing something, you cannot stop. If you are just producing beer, you cannot stop 1 day a week. It's in the production.
Yeah, okay, but then you run a
different
limited
shifts.
Yeah, you run a limited workforce anyway, because most of this manufacturing is automated. Yeah, as in the robots all over the place. I get what your point though, however, but those companies which can, for example, work a 4-day week, that you don't need to have people there all the time. I mean, let's not forget that we're not talking a company only operates from Monday to Thursday and Friday, Saturday, Sunday it's closed. I'm just saying some employees are there from Monday to Thursday, the others are there from Tuesday to Friday. Some are there Monday, Tuesday, some are there Thursday, Friday. I'm just saying, employees are given the option of a 4-day week. They decide which 4 days, as long as they're in every Tuesday for a team meeting, for example.
I'm very sorry, but I have to talk about my CEO again.
Please, go for it.
And one of, I guess, his favorites quotes, let's say, is that we don't serve time. Okay. So, just working 4 days, just on the paper, just because you tell me that, I don't know, maybe you are going to be overwhelmed or your stress is going to increase. So it's not about time. And you don't know what kind of consequences such a system could have. Because if I see, okay, there are plenty of companies and they are more productive, just letting employees work in 4 days, maybe I come to the greatest idea in the world. Okay, I can reduce my salaries because I'm only going to pay for 4 days. So there's a lot really.
No, but Zach just said they were keeping the same salary.
But I mean, one of the consequences could be for other companies.
It's still up to you as an applicant whether you would accept such a job or not. The argument in Scandinavia for a 6-hour day, working day, was that you cannot fully focus or cannot stay fully focused for 8 hours straight. So 6 hours you can do the same work which you usually would do in 8 hours, because during
That's
8
true,
hours.
But
okay.
We are coming back to the same discrimination topic. No. You know what? Because for example, for me, I would love to work maybe 12 hours a day if I know that there's no problem in between. If I want to, I don't know, to play ping pong with you for 1 hour, you know, I don't have to have this pressure of being focused 6 hours a day. Because maybe I'm having now a topic and I'm so exhausted after 3 hours, and you know that happens many times. And then I want to take a break. I don't want that then my boss is coming, hey, you know, you only have 6 hours here, so please be focused.
Oh, that's different.
No. You can have a break in between. It doesn't. He doesn't force you to work 6 hours.
Yeah, but you know the idea behind having only 6 hours, a day is that you have more free time.
No, if people abuse the system, then unfortunately you've probably either hired or trained people incorrectly. And let's face it, there are lots and lots of companies where there are people who continuously abuse the system. I've seen it myself without even working for the company, and I find it sickening, because there are so many other people who would love to have those jobs, but they can't, because it's been taken up by lazy ass people who stand outside all day smoking. But for example, if you do the 6 hour a day or 7 hours a day or whatever, and you've had a 3 hour meeting and you say, do you know what, I need to unwind. You go and lie down on the sofa, play ping pong, go for a kickabout in the park, have a shower, and then come back and work a bit more. I don't think any company is going to say no to that.
No.
Yeah, but then we're talking more about the flexible working hours and not about the amount.
Do you know what?
Because if you really want to do 6 hours, then you have to start tracking time.
No, that's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can
totally do. With you, but the thing is, when you start defining a number,
do you know what? The number
then you're
is
saving
a guide.
time.
No, the number is a guide. Yeah, the number is a guide to say, don't take the piss. Yeah, don't come to work 2 days a week, 2 hours a day. That's taking the piss, all right? But the number is a guide. I want you to be effective. I want you to be productive. I'll give you an example for why I think this can work. When I was a scout leader, the way I used to think was, if you give people, do you want the Scottish one? Yeah?
Sure.
If you give people responsibility, young people responsibility, you say to them, you are your own manager. You do what you think is right. If you were me, how would I judge your daily productivity? And if you give each individual that opportunity, that level of responsibility, then they will manage themselves far more responsibly. But when you start introducing these things that you have to be here from 9 to 5, you have to do blah, 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 I'm watching you, I'm standing over your shoulder, motherfucker. Yeah, then when that kind of stuff starts getting introduced to this topic, then you've lost.
Because totally with you, but where's the difference between saying all those things, what you say at the end, or saying you have to be here for 6 hours? I mean, I just
it's a guide. It's a psychological guide. You're simply saying to somebody, you know, the minimum requirement that we would have, because we need to make money to exist. Yeah. If nobody turns up, then we're not going to exist.
Yeah, but then I would be. Yeah, let's say the best solution, in my opinion, would be, hey, we have I don't know, 25 tasks to do. Then please make a plan and define when is the deadline. And then you say, okay, I'm going to be done in 2.5 weeks. And then I don't care about how you are going to do it and so on. We have our meeting when the deadline is over. And then in the meantime, I don't care if you work today 2 hours and tomorrow 14, or if you work today 6 and every time 6, you know, it's like, I don't want to guide you. I just want to, because you say we have to exist, we have to achieve our numbers and so on. That would be better, because just putting a number, 6 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours is in my opinion, a senseless discussion. Because you are just defining. It's like I know we're not talking. We're not going to talk about it, but it's like but you can vote with when you are 18, Why not when you are 17 or 18 and a half? You know, at the end,
that's an important conversation, and I want to have it
but
later.
not for today.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, okay, we can have it.
Sorry,
but yeah.
Fritz, go on. Sorry.
You can talk.
I mean, we already have a system where we are basically forced to stay 8 hours per day in a job. So, I mean, we already have that. The question is just,
More, yeah.
are we maybe even more efficient if we just have to work for 6 hours? Is it really necessary to stay out 8 hours a day in the office? That was the question. I mean, we already have that system that we have a certain number of hours we are obliged to, or we are forced to stay by our employment contract in a company.
And you don't like that this amount of hours are predefined?
No. That's not what I've said. I mean, we had that concept, or we still have it in your former one of your former employees, still my current one, that we have a free vacation policy. So you can take as many days off as you want, as long as you get your shit done. Yeah. I mean, it's a two-sided sword. Obviously, in my first year, I took 9 days off, but the years after,
so many.
Yeah, but the years after, the year after, it was still not. It was still below 30, but I mean, there were people who took like 35 days off, and but you can't really tell because we were not tracking them.
Yeah, someone is sitting here. Yeah.
Kind of. No, but you could tell. As you just said, deadline is in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Whether you're working an hour per day or 8 hours a day, I don't care as long as you get your shit done.
And what if I miscalculated my time frame?
No, that then you have a manager that actually helps you not to miscalculate it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. So then, therefore, at least that element of experience is there to assist the person.
And it really works.
Yeah.
I know. As I started working with Fritz, I guess I was there for 3-4 months, and then I took like 5 weeks holidays or something. It was okay for the
during your probation period.
During my probation period, yeah.
You know how much shit I had to take with that? No, I'm joking.
Nice, yeah. And it was just sending picture. Hey.
Yeah.
From the beach. Greetings from the beach. Yeah.
Zach, edit. Where can I take a piss?
The next room.
End of edit.
Not going to be edited. Fritz is now officially pissing. A lot of the podcasts that I've wanted to do is because I want to have some kind of record. You know, if I get to a certain age, then I can look back, listen to these conversations that I've had with people who I love and respect, and just hear them speak with the energy of their youth, and to remember these thoughts, to remember these conversations, and to enjoy them basically, and by putting them out into the public domain allows other people to decide whether or not they want to enjoy them too, and that's simply what it is. And I think it's great because I think lots of people should do it, and a lot of people actually are capable of doing much better podcasts than me, but they don't, and they should. It should definitely be a motivation for people to sit down and really speak to family members, friends, because you've always got that recorded. That picture you sent the other night. Loved it.
With my dad.
With your dad. Loved it.
It was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the last time you saw him, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But your dad, the facial expression.
You were like,
I mean, that's the kind of thing. You've got a record now.
Yeah.
Every time you look at that picture, you know that the whole night, the whole night is there. It's in your mind.
Yeah, true.
How special is that? Imagine if somebody hadn't taken that picture. The power of that picture.
Yeah.
And your dad had such a friendly face.
But that wasn't his. I said that was just a special occasion where he was very happy and like, funny. Yeah.
Anybody else wants a glass of water?
No, go for it, mate. Help yourself.
We only have whiskey here.
Yeah, whiskey. The Armenians from Lebanon call whiskey sohichur, which means onion water, because of the
water.
color. Yeah,
But why?
because of the color and nothing more.
Of the what?
The color.
Ah, the color.
Thank
It's
you.
a little bit yellowed. But yeah. So the other day I saw.
May I have also a glass?
Yes, of course. The other day I saw a tweet.
Nothing.
I saw a tweet by an entrepreneur, and I'm paraphrasing here, and he said, "Startups fail, entrepreneurs never fail." Yeah, this was the statement. And I responded, and I said, "Yeah, from a business perspective, I understand that. Yeah, and if you can truly incorporate this, failure culture where you learn from your mistakes and therefore you put it into the next project, that's great. But what about the people you leave behind? Yeah, if a startup fails, there's normally a certain number of people who have just been thrown out into the street, and they've normally been whipped to the bone to make that startup work, and you've just thrown them aside because you don't fail, the startup fails." And so my question essentially was, who thinks of that? And to be fair, the entrepreneur in question, he liked my response. So I don't think he was the bastard type of person. But that's the nature of startups, isn't it?
Maybe it has also something to do with that typically startups, first of all, I'd say the founder of a startup, I could also label him as an entrepreneur, with the difference that he's not wasting his own money but the money of investors, whereas an entrepreneur is usually, in the startup cosmos we call it bootstrapped, so he's using his own money to make a business work. So he feels a slightly different pressure because it's his own money, whereas founders in a typical startup, they are using the money of their investors, and so it's not that painful if they fail in a certain way. So first of all, I think we need to differentiate between that. It would be a good moment to interrupt me, Vladi, because
You never interrupt him when he wants to be.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at it from a different perspective.
So next time I wink at you, you need to interrupt me.
And then I say totally with you.
Yeah. Then you touch his knee. Yeah. What interests me though, because you guys represent the sharp point of the spear, okay? Because without mentioning the name of the organization, you unfortunately had to, because a consequence of the corona pandemic, you had to let go of.
I'd say partly corona pandemic.
All right. Well, let's put it down as. I
think it was a classic failure.
Yeah. Okay. You had to let go of a very large number of people from the organization, and what I found extremely powerful, emotional, was the fact that you were there. You guys were there. To answer questions practically the whole night to anybody who was let go. Not only that, your organization introduced a package,
leaver support package,
severance package,
support package, but as in also for as many people as were possible, you introduced them to other organizations.
Everybody who wanted. We had like a whole list and did like a proper outplacement process with them.
That's not normal though, is it?
No, but I'm glad that we did it, and mainly it was driven by our CEO and our at that time head of people and culture, who just felt terrible that during a pandemic where you knew nothing about the outcome, you have to put so many people on the streets, and that was a natural thing to support them in every way we could to find a new job.
But that's again the importance to recognize the huge social responsibility that you have as an entrepreneur, and I can tell you, so it wasn't about the end; it was always there. It was always clear from the very beginning that people are the biggest asset that you can have, and they are people, and they are. You have a business and you have a business idea, but the people are how you can call it. Also, they are not just an idea. They exist, and they are going to exist. It doesn't matter if the idea that you originally have failed or not, and that's why I'm totally with you. But I can tell you that wasn't a thing that just came at the end. It was for me clear, and I was part of it because I was organizing also this kind of support packages and so on.
But this is the culture element, because last time we spoke and you said let's define culture, okay? And so and you what you said I think is completely valid and so on. You can't create a culture and so on, but sometimes you can, because you created the atmosphere at least, which led to this culture. And when I first came and met you guys, okay, Fritz I knew, but when I came and first met you guys, I mean, within a week we were hugging, and it's not because you're such a beautiful man. I mean, it's simply a question of spirit, of soul, of character, of the culture.
Was that any different in my employee before that?
I'd be lucky to get a slap during the
I mean, you are my English teacher, so correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a huge difference between creating a culture and shaping a culture. And that's why I say it, or we say that it's not really a thing that you always have one, and it's about how to shape it. And that's why I took the example of countries, that it's not that you now can create a German culture, it's there, but you can do a couple of things to shape it in a more maybe liberal way, or in a more conservative way, I don't know.
But a startup is inherently different to an area of civilization which has existed for thousands of years. As by its very nature, a startup is new, and so therefore you've got a blank sheet, and you can put onto that sheet whatever you want. You are essentially playing God. You are creating.
I'm 99% with you, but we are all people. And even if I'm the CEO, I'm not going to tell you how to behave or how to act or how to react.
This is the difference between the two of us. I would definitely tell an employee who doesn't behave.
Yeah, okay.
The way I expect him to behave.
That's why we're not working together anymore. But no.
With great
pleasure, I love you.
And full of joy.
Yeah.
Are you reliving the moment that you guys had in the past?
Yeah.
No, the two of us never had such moments, but there were once in a while there was someone who needed a little verbal slap.
Yeah, but that's also good.
Yeah.
And needed.
You shouldn't shy away from such actions.
Needed.
Also, which is really cool. Another consequence of your boss putting up this thing on LinkedIn. An old friend of mine from Italy contacted me, and I'm going to do a podcast with him as well.
Silvio?
No, Alessandro. And I'm going to do a podcast with him as well, because he's also started. He's also got a startup that he's managed himself, and he's in Malta. He's not even in Italy anymore.
Is he into gambling or betting?
You see, I didn't know that. He told me about this. What is this shit? So Malta is the gambling capital of Europe. How come? How did that come about?
I'm not too sure about the other countries, but in Germany it's basically illegal. It's probably not illegal, but it's very, very difficult to set something up like that. So this is why they all have their headquarters in Malta. Since Malta
he's not involved in that at all. He's got something completely different going on.
So what's it about?
It is to do with sport and
So it's not betting.
I knew I wasn't. See, you're so prejudicial. You just jump right in.
Yes, we are.
It's actually about sharing sports equipment.
Sharing sports equipment. Okay.
I believe so. Yes. So it's got nothing to do with performance and future analysis of how somebody may.
What do you mean by sharing? Like selling sports equipment?
No, actually sharing. So next week when I'm going to do a podcast with him as well. This is the consequence, yeah. And so he's going to fill me in a little bit more on this the concept that he has, and it sounds actually really cool. But yeah, because as I said before, Berlin is the startup capital of Europe. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Is Malta the startup capital of Europe?
Startup?
Yeah. How would you measure this? I mean,
that's very easy.
Probably by the number,
by the number of
numbers of companies or
not companies. The money that has been invested. No, not revenue. The fundraising money.
Investment capital.
Investment capital, yeah. And I think Germany is like in the top 3 or 5, but this is not the number 1.
So where is the number 1 in Europe? If you were
Are you talking worldwide or Europe-wide?
Europe-wide.
Okay. It's not Berlin. It's not even number 1.
It's not Berlin.
So which city is it then? I mean,
I don't want to
just
tell
talk
something
about Gorillas, Trade Republic.
Okay, but that's something that.
Vlad has just taken out his phone. Please continue, Vlad. Tell us. Please tell us, Vlad, from your extensive knowledge.
No. I let my phone, but I mean, before Gorillas and so on, it was London for sure.
Do you want another beer?
Yes. I still have.
Wait. I have a bit more here.
What does that mean?
By the time he's back from the fridge, it should be empty.
You'll be getting up on your own. Boy.
It's a white beer, so preferably drink it out of a glass, but whatever you feel.
Are they still in there?
No, those are the ones from the freezer, and the ones in the fridge are in the fridge.
I see.
Look here.
The big ones. I want a little one though.
We don't have little ones anymore. Oh, there's one can left you can have.
I'll wait for the big ones and then I'll have a whiskey instead. Sorry mate, go on, please continue.
Why don't you have a big one?
I'll wait for you guys to have
Well, you don't need to wait for us, come on.
It's okay. Alles gut.
Yeah, number
Step
1
out of the line.
Sorry, but number 1 is still London, as I said before.
Okay, yeah.
And now Berlin is in the 2nd place.
Okay, but we're talking. Okay,
talking 2021 or which
2020.
year? 2020 and 2021. I mean, we had quite some unicorns this year.
Yeah, but no.
I mean, if you do your homework,
let me take
okay?
Christine Lagarde and then.
Christine Lagarde.
And Paris was before the number 2. Yeah,
Paris. Okay.
Paris. Come on, Colombia.
But if we talk,
Paris, we say in Colombia.
Okay, but if we talk European Union, then obviously Berlin is number 1 and Paris.
Are we talking now about Brexit?
No, Brexit's done and dusted. There's nothing to say about that anymore. But yeah, so okay, within the European Union, mainland Europe, then Berlin is number 1 and Paris is number 2. Where would Malta fall then? So if all of the gambling companies are in Malta, I mean, there's a lot.
But gambling is not
they're not funded by venture capitalists.
So that's not included at all then.
No.
Okay. Fair enough. But it tells you. I mean, I try to make out that I'm a moderately intelligent person, and I had no idea that all of the gambling organisations had set themselves up in Malta. But this is quite a modern thing, then, I guess. No.
Well.
Why not Monaco? Why not Monaco? I thought Monaco was, or Monte Carlo. I mean, it's the.
I think it's cheaper to establish a company in Malta than Monaco.
Okay, fair enough. It's probably I get your point there. No. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy. Okay. All right. So now we're going to have to come back to a completely different topic, which would require a whiskey refill.
Do it.
Which one do you want? Do you want to try the Japanese Nikkei?
Yeah.
Guys, you're quick drinkers. But it's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only contributes to the atmosphere of our podcast.
Wow.
That looks like it's made of caramelized onions, huh? A little darker.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really
delicious.
It's very strong as well. You sure you don't want to try any of this?
I think I'm
fine. That's very smoky, right?
If you call it smoky, man. I have no idea. I'm not a specialist. Fritz.
Yeah. No, it's not really smoky. It's
no. You need to try something called. It's Armenian, so you can't say no now.
Of course, I won't say no.
Yeah. It's.
And now
I was walking around.
You have to say something Armenian.
Yeah.
Such a shame we don't have a video here.
What did you say? You have to say something Armenian. You can see.
Well, it looks more like an English sausage, huh?
Yeah, this. So I was walking around Happisham Markt and there was a cafe, and I saw this, and I
don't know how to do it. Do it.
No, go for it. No, you do.
No,
it.
but
You pour as much as you want. If you pour all of it in, you pour all of it in. And I saw this, and
Arma, the original Armenian spirit.
Yeah. So I asked this woman what she uses it for, and she said she puts it in her glühwein.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's really. I use it now to cook with, by the way. But it's really nice, especially the liqueur, more than a spirit.
I was about to say. I mean, it has 40% of volume.
Let me see the bottle
so
again.
it's more of a spirit than a liquor, but it tastes like a liquor since it's rather sweet. Yeah.
It's not bad, is it?
It's actually quite decent compared to the stuff I drank in Latin America and South America. Aguardiente.
Oh.
$5 a bottle, but it basically blew your mind.
This was €10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's.
But
really,
it's,
really
to be honest,
nice.
too sweet.
It's too sweet.
I enjoyed. It's an enjoyable drink, but I wouldn't spend the night over there.
No, okay, fair enough. I mean, like I said, I actually add it to my sauces when I do like pasta sauce or whatever.
I think
It's
for
actually quite
cooking,
nice.
it's absolutely perfect if it has some slight sweetness, such as port wine, for example. Yeah, sherry.
Yeah. Prost.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Salud.
Salud. So,
Yeah.
let's take the last.
That's smoky, right?
Yes.
I told you.
Yeah, you know more than that. That's the Nika. That's
That's the one which has like 50 something.
Yeah,
No,
that's
40, 41 or something.
No, 51.
That's the Japanese one.
What are you doing to me?
Yeah, but that's really good.
It is.
Give it a go. You really,
But
it really warms you up.
So nice smoky.
It is really good, definitely.
It's impressive, isn't it?
It wouldn't be my type of whiskey, but it's really tasty.
Mm. If you want to add a bit of water to it, it completely
No.
changes. But
I know, but then no.
Okay. So, a point you alluded to earlier, and which I said we'll come back to. And for you, the number is arbitrary. You said it doesn't matter. It's just a bullshit argument. But I really think.
Are we talking about the 6 hours week?
No. 18 to 16.
Ah, okay.
I think the voting age should be reduced from 18 to 16. Because I really believe, a 16-year-old is voting for a future which they are going to grow into. I think at the age of 16, a person has...
Are you talking about the world or about a certain country?
Let's talk about European Union. Yeah, I don't want to go too far afield. I'm not going to judge other areas. But within the European Union, your average 16-year-old has already established ideas on how they want to live their lives. a kind of analysis of the society in which they exist, what they believe is right, what they believe is wrong, and all of the different factors in between. Why are we so fixated on the age of 18? If in Germany you can buy a beer at the age of 16, you can have sex at the age of 16, you can create a family at the age of 16, but you can't vote at the age of 16. Why is it that voting requires such an additional level of maturity to all of these other things? I don't understand it.
Is there a country in the world where you can vote with the age of 16?
The Scottish referendum allowed 16-year-olds to vote.
That's
And only the Scottish referendum. Brexit referendum
That's a
didn't
pity
allow.
that's a pity that it was only the Scottish referendum, but in general I perfectly agree. You should be allowed to vote with the age of 16. I don't know, are the grand parties afraid of young voters because they have a tendency to vote more liberal or more leftist? But then you could also argue that the people who really care about politics, or the teenagers, let's say with the age of 16 or 17, who really care about politics, go and vote. And the ones you might be afraid of because they vote, I don't know, rubbish parties, they probably anyways won't go to and give their vote. Yeah, I'm definitely pro 16.
You don't think so?
my honest opinion, if we think that the right to vote just depend on a certain age, I think we are just stupid.
Of course, it doesn't, Vlad, but how? I mean, you need to have some kind of.
No. Yeah, but then something more. If you want to drive a car, you need a driver license.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then you're into dangerous territory.
Now we're talking. Now we are back to discrimination. So only the ones with A levels are allowed to vote.
Huh? But then I would love to discriminate in a positive way, because as a matter of fact, vast majority of people that are voting, they don't know what they are doing, and not because they are stupid, not because you can also have well-educated people, but they are not really reading what the parties are, let's say, proposing, or what they are.
The program.
So the program, right? So for me, it's not about including more people. For me, it's about excluding people.
So whom would you exclude, for example? Prisoners, such as in the US?
Huh?
Prisoners, such as in the US?
What do you mean in the US?
Prisoners in certain states are excluded from voting. They don't have the right to vote.
Trump's Republicans excluded people who had outstanding fines from voting.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're getting in, or you're going in a
different
direction. In a different direction. They are giving me some examples, but.
Yeah. So you understand what we're talking about.
Sure. But the thing is that to drive a car is not that easy.
Yeah.
Here in Europe, at least. You
Buddy,
have to.
I got your point.
No. Okay.
I want to know how you would put that into practice.
That's the dangerous territory, isn't it?
In Vladicracy,
Yeah, I know. How does it work in a Vladicracy?
where on earth is there a Vladicracy?
In this kitchen right now, after this, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. Don't say you have to have a certain amount of hair, because I'm disqualified straight away.
So how would you put it into practice?
The thing is that
I'm not asking that to criticize you. I'm asking because I'm
I know,
curious.
Because, that's why I love you. But for me, if you want to be part of a process, when it comes to let's make a decision, then you have to be informed, you have to be aware about the consequences, you have to be aware about all the possibilities and so on. Mm-hmm. So the future of a country, of many generations and so on, for me is just no go. It's very responsible to let everybody decide about the future of a country. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, it's not only about driving a car. It's
everybody.
That
also means no matter whether he understood what he's voting for or not.
Sorry?
That also means no matter what he or she or non-binary understands what he or she is voting for or not.
Let's say yes, because at the end, the two things. The first thing
then
is
you're
always
contradicting yourself, to be honest.
The first thing is that
such a joy to interrupt you. When payback time. sorry.
When you listen to people that they are also like, we have to educate people and so on. If you keep asking, why do we have to educate people? And the end, normally you get only one answer, so that they vote the same candidate I would vote for. So lefty people normally think, I'm not talking about us, but lefty people normally think that if people would be more educated, they would be also lefty. You have also the thing, this certain, I don't know,
that's a very good point, actually.
Arrogant, you think that you are right, and you're right because you are good and you are educated. So my point goes in a very different direction. It's about, I don't care if you are right or if you are left, but I need, let's say, arguments. For me, it's not enough that, because my father was also a lefty guy, or my mother was was working for the CDU. And that's when I say, okay, then you are not thinking about us, you are not thinking about generation, and above all, you are forgetting yourself, because it's not about thinking about society. So my proposition would be, you have to earn the right to vote.
How?
Let's say we build something like a driver's license, but a voting license, and it's very
So you're
it's
so you are willing to discriminate those people who are not able to pass that voting license.
yeah, sure, yeah.
Well,
Let's
look at it from
I would perfectly disagree.
But why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I believe everybody has the right to vote, no matter.
But
who
why? You are not telling me the reasons why.
Allow me to
Because we are living in a democracy. That's the basis of
What
a
a
democracy.
democracy? Come on.
I'm not saying that
Democracy.
May I finish that sentence? I'm not saying that democracy is the best governmental system, but fortunately or unfortunately, we are living in a democracy. And this is why every single member of that democracy should have the right to vote.
You know what? In Colombia and in almost whole Latin America, we have such a shitty situation because of democracy. Because here, let me tell you something.
Different topic.
No, let me.
I
No,
didn't
it's
say
not
that
a different
democracy
topic. The
is
thing
like
is
the
that
solution for everything. I didn't say that. I
In
just
your-
said
in
you have
your-
to be consequent if you are using one political system.
your idea or in your head is like democracy is that everybody has the vote to decide and we are equal. But take a look a bit deeper in all the, let's say, countries that are working as a whale oil machine. We can start with the UK. Well, you still have the House of Lords. Tell me, is this really a democracy? You have a queen. You have the House of Lords.
It's a constitutional democracy.
But I'll
this
tell
is
you
what
what.
they call it.
No.
I'll tell you what.
Yes.
It's not about naming, about labeling.
One
It's
second.
about you also have people that they just can how do you say it? Like,
Inherit.
They can inherit the right to
Yeah.
be part of the parliament.
One second. Can I just say though, you're right.
You have
the
20
House
seconds.
of Lords is undemocratic.
Yeah.
However, in many of their argumentations, they were more representative of the people than House of Commons.
That's my point because they are prepared for it,
Absolutely.
and it makes
Absolutely.
it could be. Maybe you don't want to
I
listen
love
to it.
how passionate you are.
Maybe you don't want to listen to it, but it makes a huge difference if you go to a high school here in Neukölln or if you visit Eton College. And if you are not, if you have a different opinion, then I'm very happy to listen to your arguments.
So, do I get you right in if I translate that into a language I can understand? The benefits of having a voting license is that only let's say the people, not only the clever people or the smart, well-educated ones, but the ones who have a severe or like an honest interest in political systems or in political directions on our agendas are allowed to vote, and therefore they will make a decision for people who don't have that voting license, but it's beneficial for them or it's good for them. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, because they know what they are doing.
Okay.
It's that it's not that I'm telling you a new thing.
Yeah.
You can see all the Greeks, for example.
And would that let's first maybe follow that into practice question. So that voting license, would it last for my whole life, or would I have to do it again every year or every 4 years for each new elections?
I'm open. We can elaborate on that idea, but the main idea would be that you have to earn the right to decide for the future of the whole community.
If I can just jump in then. So the reason why for me it's important is because I look back at myself, and I don't think I was an exceptional 16-year-old. I think I was as an average 16-year-old in the same way many 16-year-olds are. But I had quite an advanced sense of justice. I had an advanced sense of responsibility. And I think a lot of other 16-year-olds have this sense. And if they are engaged, if they are told, you have the opportunity at the age of 16 of participating in the most important decision that any country can participate in, that will allow that person to start thinking along a certain line. You know, they would start from a younger age to commit to a collective. Now, whether they decide to vote at the age of 16 or if they decide to vote at the age of 20 or 24, with the additional 2 years, they've been given that opportunity of time to analyze what their role is within a society. Who am I? When they go into that voting booth, perhaps with a parent, perhaps with an aunt or grandparent, for that moment, for that one vote, they are the equal of the people they have always looked up to. They are the equal of the Prime Minister, they are the equal of the President, they are the equal of any other person within that society. That is an empowering thought. Yeah? Because it is only in the voting booth that people are equal. You know, we talk about equality under the law, but I think the system is biased towards elites.
So one
but
could
voting is different.
In my system, this question turns totally irrelevant because I have here an exam that you have to pass, and then you have this voter license, let's say, put it that way. Then I don't care if you are 13, 15, 21 or 27.
Why not 8?
I mean, if you are able to pass that, and it's for free, and I'm going to do everything that you are going to be prepared during school, so that you don't have to pay any extra lessons for it. It's only if you're interested.
It's an interesting concept. I haven't thought about it.
And then I say, okay, here. And then I don't care how old you are.
Yeah. But I think you would have to renew it before every election, because otherwise a person does it with the age of 16 and then never again, so he loses completely touch.
Could be that could be a nice idea, but I wouldn't be that short. So
well, theoretically, whenever
my book isn't finished, so we can no.
But whenever there is an electoral register, they have go for it. Yeah. Vlad's gone for a pee. I'm not going to edit this out. Yeah. But it was nice that you whispered.
Hopefully only for a pee, yeah?
Yeah. Well, no, go for it. Leave a deposit if you wish. Just clean it out. Yeah. So you got right in the middle of the sentence there. I mean, how can I follow that up? It's good to have people around again. Good friends, good conversation, good meat. What was that meat again? What
just a classic beef rump steak, but the butcher is an organic butcher, and it's from his own pigs, porks and cows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's I think a farmer in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern or Brandenburg, somewhere outside Berlin.
Okay.
And, all right. Yeah. But he didn't have proper sausages, only the pre-boiled one. Yeah. So this gives, for me, a thumbs down.
Yeah, okay. I mean, our butcher is, like I said, he's won crazy awards.
But to be honest, the main reason why the majority of the butchers or supermarkets don't sell the very fresh ones, because you basically need to put them on the barbecue the same day or the day after. Whereas the pre-boiled ones last longer. But yeah, as I'm from the countryside, I'm only used to the fresh ones.
Yeah. That's right. It's just because before Levon was watching this program, I could hear that in the background, and I was worried that the microphone would pick it up. But yeah, okay, all right. So
get the microphone.
Yeah, absolutely. What microphone? Yeah, I mean, as far as the podcast element goes, guys, I think that probably wraps it up. But it remains for me simply to say thank you very much, for coming over, and I love this. I hope we could do it more often, and not only here, but I mean, I'd love to have you guys here. It would be great also to have Lena sort of participate in these things.
Sure.
But I mean, maybe we can also create a group, so not just have. We can
invite guests and rip them apart if they don't obey our opinions.
You're so altruistic.
Always.
No, but I mean, really, I'd like to diversify. I mean, I think we've created.
Are we not diverse enough for you?
Yeah, absolutely. You have hair, I don't. I mean, there is a diversity element there.
3 nationalities.
Absolutely, but
3 bellies.
3 bellies, 3.
Yeah, some are bigger than others. But I mean, what we've got, this, you guys joining me is brilliant, and I want to keep that unit. But I think we should also do another. Why not? Let's do more opportunities. Yeah. Let's create bigger groups and just bring people together. And you know, if it ends up everybody gets smashed and we start doing a sing along, then that's cool. We'll put it up on a podcast.
Yeah.
I'd love it. Yeah? Share in that. You know, rejoice in that scenario. But yeah, let's create it. Let's meet up. Let's go to Mauer Park or whatever. Grab some beers and somebody has a guitar. Let's just talk about whatever needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely do it. I have no problems at all. So yeah, but again, thank you very much, guys. You are heartwarming, you know, and I really enjoy your company and your conversation. So I thank you greatly for that.
I can just only give back the compliments. Thanks a lot for having us.
It's always fun to talk to you.
Two and a mic.